This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
This is It Was a Thing on TV.
Spoiler number one is Dr. Lee frowns. It stinks.
What is going on? What is going on?
Episode 81, submission number 958, The Neighbors. The Neighbors aired on ABC Daytime from December 29th, 1975 to April 9th, 1976, for a total of 65 episodes.
It's time for The Neighbors. And now here's The Neighbors' best friend and your host, Regis Philbin.
Ladies, thank you.
Well, this episode isn't going to be just about The Neighbors. It's going to be mostly about The Neighbors, but
it's not going to be about The Neighbors, the 2012 series.
Yeah,
No.
well, obviously, there was a 2012 series. That's for another episode.
and it's definitely not about the Australian series. That's going on for ages.
No, we're
That's
not talking. We're
not
not
going to be on this show.
We're not talking about Kylie Minogue today. Call back tomorrow about Kylie Minogue.
Now, this is going to be about Regis Philbin's little endeavor in late 75 and early 76, and this is our tribute of sorts to Regis. If you heard the end of the last episode, the No Lemon Show episode, we actually got news of Regis's passing while we were recording, and we made the executive decision at that time to reschedule what was going to happen this week to a later date. And we are doing a tribute to Regis this week, both in terms of The Neighbors, but also I'm sure each of us has something we want to say about Regis, maybe something we remember or just something about him, because he is nothing short of a legend.
Yeah, in fact, to call him a legend would just be a bit of a slight. He is, there's not going to be anyone like Regis.
Oh,
He's
no.
Mr. Television.
There's a reason why he's. For crying out loud, he's was probably on so much. I think he has the world record for. As we established a show or two ago, the Guinness World Records really doesn't mean much, but he does have the official world record for most hours on television.
He does.
He has or had, yes, absolutely. So what about this? The Neighbors. Oh, boy.
Oh.
For all the good stuff, for every millionaire and every Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, you got to have one bad show. And man, was this that one bad show.
The Joey Bishop show?
Dial it back, man. Dial it back.
Oh, come
Dial
on.
it back. Dial it back.
No. Oh,
But,
boy.
this was just... I want to say this was like part one of the two-part deal between Carruthers Company, Warner Brothers, and ABC. We'll talk about the second part on another show. But, oh God, this was just so indicative of the era. You have two female neighbors. Instead of having a good old-fashioned kiki like we used to, they're playing for cash money, answering questions about a panel of three of their neighbors. This sounds amazingly like something that would come up. Is My Kind of Town on the list? I feel like My Kind of Town should be on the list.
What is that?
My Kind of Town is like Michael Davies' sort of love affair to small-town America.
Yeah, it was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, of course that would be a Michael Davies joint.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I actually got a different take. I actually thought it was more like a mix of the Newlywed Game and Three's a Crowd, as well as, obviously Neighbors being involved.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a little catty at times, not Three's a Crowd catty where you got the secretary going after the wife, but it did look very uncomfortable to say the least.
It was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, so you have two female neighbors competing for cash by answering questions about a panel of 3 of their neighbors. So it's sort of like, it would sort of set the stage for either studs or love me not. The correct answers would score $25 in round 1, and then $50 in round 2, with the selected panelists earning $25 whether it was correct or not.
Wait, not love me not. Mama no mama!
Mama no mama, I'm sorry. I forgot it was an Italian joint before. But anyway.
No, okay, I just had to chime in with that.
Hey, love me not. That had Ross Schaefer in it.
Yes, it did. Alex Trebek hosted the pilot, though.
Oh, my God.
And that's where Mama no mama comes in.
Mama no mama, hey!
Okay, so again, here's how we play the game. In round 1, you have our 2 warring neighbors, and I use the term jokingly, of course. They have to field questions about a panel of 3 of their neighbors. Regis read a statement about one of the 2 contestants. Contestants have to guess which contestant most of the panel felt that question applied to, and the correct answers are worth $25. In round 2, contestants guess which panelist made a particular statement about that player, and a correct selection scored 50 for the contestant and 25 for the panelist. In round 3, a statement would be read about one of the 2 contestants made as a unanimous opinion by all 3 panelists. First player to buzz in and correctly choose the neighbor earned money. Choose the wrong neighbor, and the opposing neighbor won the money. Questions go to 50, then 100, 150, then 200, and then 300 for the 5th and final question. Player with the most money won a bonus prize. And that was the game.
Wow.
That will go down in history as the simplest explanation ever on this show.
That's the episode. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Well, now, hold on. Well, now you can see why we're going to talk a little bit more about Regis, because there was not a lot of meat on the bone here. It really was like a kind of ripoff of Newlywed Game. Plus, there's a little Three's a Crowd, and you got a little bit of the cattiness that we talked about.
It was indicative of the era. And
it just came across as awkward. I mean, well, first off, I know it's maybe a little same with the Newlyweds, but, you know, these are 5 neighbors, and unless you're in the same neighborhood as them, can you necessarily relate to them? Otherwise, you're just basically spreading gossip about your neighbors on nationwide television for not really high monetary stakes.
No.
And the winner gets a small prize of sorts, a small package of prizes like what you'd see on Newlywed Game, you know, maybe a dinette or some appliances or stuff like that. I mean, they're not being heavily reimbursed for, you know, spilling the dirt on their neighbors.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, it's it's really one of the worst shows I've ever seen, and gosh, we haven't even gotten to the other episode this week. We'll stick around for that one.
Boy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This show was it was bad as it was forgettable, and I bet you Regis would just, I don't know if he would love to just sweep it under the rug, because again, this is Regis Philbin at his most Regis Philbin-y. Again, 25 years earlier than The Obvious. But yeah, Regis was just a man of the people.
He was.
And it doesn't get much more popular, I guess, than Female Neighbors in the 1970s.
Yeah.
You're thinking This was a show created for housewives, about housewives, by Bill Carruthers.
Yeah.
And again, I just can't see what the interest was because, again, I don't have any sort of stake in the neighbors. There are people who are appearing on my TV screen for half an hour. And plus also, I'm just curious. Now, they had 5 neighbors on. Was that the same 5 neighbors on just for one episode, or was it for the entire week where they'd rotate, 2 people playing in the main part of the game each week? Because that would be a little more fair if you think about it.
That'd be more fun.
Yeah.
It might be a little more fun, but it's more fair because the thing is, the 3 members of the jury, if you will, they didn't get many opportunities to get paid from what I saw. And they definitely didn't have a stake in the big prize at the end.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, that just reeks of a little unfairness. But, yeah, I mean, they could easily have had them on the whole week, and, I mean, that would make casting a lot easier. And as I mentioned earlier, there weren't really high stakes. So, okay, maybe somebody wins both prize packages on their show and may pick up, a couple $100 as a member of the jury or whatnot. It wasn't, it was, I don't know. I can't describe this. This was such crap.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yep.
This was basically trying to be the network version of Three's a Crowd.
Before Three's a Crowd.
Before Three's a Crowd. And lest we remind you, Chuck Barris is the king of schlock television in the 70s, and most people would say that Gog Show is Chuck Barris at peak Chuck Barris, but Three's a Crowd is basically the apex of the form. And I want to say he took what was wrong about the neighbors and just, did he make it better? Did he make it worse? Help me help you here, guys.
Nothing could have made this better except cancellation. I mean, there's 2 episodes online, and it's a slog. It is really tough to get through them.
Yeah.
I will say this. I really liked the set. The sort of neighborhood type of set with the 3 neighbors sitting behind the 2 primary contestants on like a porch, and you had what looked like house fronts. I thought that was cute. I thought that was adorable, but that's like the only real redeeming factor of this show. Even the opening, you heard the opening, that's annoying.
Yeah.
That opening is better than what was used on the pilot.
Yeah, on the pilot, they used a song called Pick a Little, Talk a Little from The Music Man.
Yeah, and you've heard that. Family Guy has made fun of it, and it's been all over the place. Pick a little, talk a little, chip, 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 something like that. You can easily find it on YouTube. Well, guys.
No. No. I know what you're going to say, Mike.
Mike, I recognize that look on your face. What do you have planned?
I know what you're going to say.
No, not the music! Anything but the music!
So as I was saying before you 2 overreacted, this show obviously needs a little bit of filler, and gosh knows what's better filler than
Don't do it. Don't play the music! Don't play the music! Ah!
Play the music.
Oh.
Okay, guys. Yes, there is something the neighbors related on eBay.
It better not. Is it unless it's an autographed picture of Regis on the set? Forget about it.
It's not an autographed picture of Regis on the set. It is just a press photo of the show, and I'll give you the details about it, except the price, obviously.
Oh,
This is dated January 6th of 1976. You have Regis in the middle, and on the left-hand side, to Regis's right, you have the two main contestants for the day, Beverly and Sandy. Not that that makes half a difference. And you have the three neighbors, the three cackling neighbors, on the right-hand side to Regis's left. So again, this is dated January 6th of 1976. It's a 7x9, not an 8x10, 7x9.
Oh, that makes a world of difference.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're losing an inch on both sides, so it's that much smaller. But
Well, an inch could mean a lot of things to a lot of people, dude.
freezing. And we'll start with Greg, since last time I went with Chico first. So, Greg, in dollars and cents, what would you pay, or not what would you pay, but what is the going price for this press photo of the neighbors?
Okay. 7x9.
Yeah, not 8x10, 7x9.
Not 8. I will go $11.99.
$11.99. Okay, Chico.
Well, I hate to sound very morbid, but given that Regis is sadly no longer with us, I'm guessing the price has gone higher. So I'm going to guess $15.40.
$15.40.
Okay, Greg said $11.99, and Chico went with the awfully weird $15.40.
Yeah.
One of you is awfully close.
Okay.
Awfully close. The winner is the person who's closest to $15.47.
What? What?
$15.47. 7 cents off.
I almost said $15.42, but my brain just.
Is that the closest we've had to a perfect bid?
I think that's the closest we've had to a perfect bid. Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, that took precision, and he just nailed it. I thought Greg's bid was great, but Chico had surgical precision there, and just boop, within 7 cents. Beautifully done.
Thank you. But you know what else was beautifully done? Again, this is your classic example of Regis turning shit into shinola.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's an interesting segue, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Because, again, this is a guy who, again, comes from humble beginnings. He's New York through and through.
Oh, yes.
He's a man of the people, and not many people know this, but he didn't have a writer working on his material, so he sort of perfected the audience chat.
Yes.
Okay.
So that became his go-to, his trademark.
Oh, yeah, and that was one of the best things about Regis and Kathy Lee is the beginning of the show was never scripted. That was all them.
Mm-hmm.
It was all them reacting to whatever was in the news, whatever crazy thing happened with Regis that yesterday. It was just incredible when the monologue when they would talk. It brings back so many memories.
It does. It does.
Now, let me ask you this, Greg. Since you are in New York City,
yes,
and I believe you've lived there almost all your life.
Well, I live in Long Island. I don't exactly live in the city.
Oh, okay, but I mean, you're a lot closer to New York City than both me and
Yes.
Chico are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had you ever gone to a taping of Regis and Kathy Lee or Regis and Kelly?
No, I didn't. Unfortunately.
Okay.
But I wish I did, because whenever you would watch the tapings on TV, it looked like such a fun time to be on the set.
Well, I know that a good mutual friend of all three of ours, Kyle Hershon, had gone to a number of episodes, and he says exactly that. It's absolutely a riot. And I wish we had him here, because he relayed a story about when he went to go see the show. I think he was like 7 or 8 years old. So this would have been probably about 15 to 17 years ago, and Regis was still there. And he did something. I don't remember the details of it. I'm sure if Kyle hears this, he'll fill me in. But he did something when Regis was talking to him, and he came across looking like a total goof on TV. More so than he does in regular life.
Yeah, he is like, we all know Kyle. He is our lovable goofball.
Yeah. In fact,
Yes,
for those that wouldn't know, if you listen to the Xavier Renegade Angel episode, he's the guy who says crikey.
Yeah, he's also at the end of the show, too.
He's also at the end of the episode, too. But guys, when we think of Regis, we think of mainly, I mean, obviously Regis and Kathy Lee, Regis and Kelly, but we got to go back to 1999 when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire premiered on ABC. And that had, that became, it's easy to forget now, especially, considering what a phenomenon that show was when it came on.
Mm-hmm.
It was a game changer. Oh, yes.
It was absolutely. I mean, this turned game shows into an event. It changed how it was produced. It changed how it was run. It was all computerized. There was a lot of polish. This was basically the game show 2.0.
And also, let's add, it elevated Regis to like a whole new stature in terms of pop culture fandom. I mean, he was just that guy on that morning show, or not even just that morning show, on those morning shows, because, again, we mentioned Regis and Kathy Lee, Regis and Kelly. He did shows on Lifetime. He had his own talk show back in the early 80s.
Hey,
so
Discover,
he was that morning show guy.
Yeah, and I'll talk about a discovery I made in a little bit before we started doing the show, before we started recording. But, I mean, think about it. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire basically changed the genre. Because, think about it. Because of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, think about it. We probably don't get on Jeopardy the changing in 2003 of the 5-day retirement rule to the champion stays on until he's defeated. So think about it. Without Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, we probably don't get the Ken Jenningses and the James Holzhauers.
Mm-hmm.
And also to another extent, if we don't have Millionaire, we probably don't necessarily get Survivor or Big Brother or The Amazing Race. That sort of reopened that reality genre to include, competition shows, and we talked about some of the Millionaire wannabes back in 2000. But yeah, there'd probably be a lot of shows that wouldn't even be around, even TV shows that are on nowadays. Yeah, if it wasn't for Millionaire.
Yeah, American Idol you can add to that list too.
Uh-huh. And then you have, let's see, your Deal or No Deals, your 1 versus 100s, your reboots of both of them, The Wall on NBC right now, ABC's annual summer game show blocks.
Yeah, you don't get those without Millionaire.
You don't get those without Millionaire.
No.
And you might even be able to add like a Titan Games to that.
That's true. So yeah, we talked about all the stuff with Millionaire and all that, but guys, we've been sharing a lot of YouTube clips of Regis over the years this week, and before we signed on this episode today, I found a clip of Regis interviewing Gene Rayburn while they're on exercise bikes.
Oh, God.
This was around 1985 when Gene was plugging Break the Bank.
And this, I'm guessing, was when he was on Lifetime.
Yeah, because Lifetime would be owned by ABC probably at this point. So,
well, also another thing that I think we need to mention, and this was a Chico find, I believe.
Okay.
In our little conversations that we have, he passed along a YouTube link to Regis on Password Plus back in late 1981, November of 1981.
Yes, and this would have been to plug, because people forget, he had a morning show on NBC in 1981, right after Las Vegas Gambit was canceled.
Right, yeah, and I mentioned that earlier in the show that he had his morning show. So yeah, a little bit of corporate synergy, and Greg was watching the episode and made a very astute observation, one that we posted on our Twitter account earlier this week. About 8 or 9 minutes in, they introduce a new contestant, and the new contestant happens to be, and I know Greg he lost it over this.
I lost my shit.
Boy.
Oh, yes. Chuck Wagner from previous installment Automan.
Oh, yes.
Play the clip. Just
Yeah.
play it. Just play it.
All right, Rory, we've got some new competition for you. Let's welcome to Password Plus, ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Wagner.
Hey,
Chuck, good to see you.
All right, nice to see you.
Sit down there, Chuck.
Whoa, thank you.
Holy mackerel.
Chuck's a big guy. Whew. Chuck means business.
Yeah, Chuck. What do you do, Chuck?
Well, I'm from a small town called Hartsville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Population about 1,500, and I've been out here for about 3 years. Went to USC, and I'm a freelance masseur.
Oh, you are?
Does anybody need any work?
I'd be afraid myself with Chuck. He's strong.
Nah,
Chuck could hurt you.
Gentle.
You're at SC? Is that
I was at SC, but I'm out.
Oh, you're out now. You
I'm out.
sprung it, huh?
I broke free.
What are you going to do now, Chuck?
I'm going to win a lot of money on Password Plus.
I see.
And he means it.
And Regis gets a free massage.
Whatever he wants if I win.
Okay.
And if he loses?
Whatever he pays for.
Oh, I see. All right.
What can I say?
Good luck, pal.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks for giving me Chuck.
And I believe it's Tom Kennedy, Tom or Regis, or maybe even both of them said, "Oh, you'd be a good actor. You're tall, handsome, good looking. You ought to get into acting." Lo and behold, a little over 2 years later, he's on Automan.
And a little 2.5 years later, he's a panelist on Match Game Hollywood Squares.
Among other shows. He was on Tattletales too.
With his
Yeah,
wife.
And hey, Chuck Wagner's a damn good singer.
Yes, he is. He is quite the lyric baritone.
And he's a good dancer at zippers.
Oh, boy.
Zippers!
One day we're going to have a T-shirt. If we ever have our own pro wrestling teaser store, it's going to be a picture of Mike saying, "Zippers!"
Oh, boy.
Well, beyond that, I'm sure we each have a memory of Regis that we want to share as we close out this show because we're filling at this point.
Yeah.
I'll start. I grew up with Regis. I remember him on his Lifetime show, and obviously we all grew up with him on Live with Regis and Kathy Lee and Live with Regis and Kelly. Maybe not necessarily grew up for at least two of us within the Live with Regis and Kelly era, but you get my point. My big takeaway, it was early on in Millionaire. I think it was the first series. Maybe it was the second series, but I believe it was the first. And I forget who was in the hot seat. But Regis has like the drama turned up to like 11. He's got the drama dialed up so high, the pregnant pauses, and the contestant says, "I'm a fat man, Regis. My heart can't take it. I'm just trying to help you sweat off a few pounds." I thought that was maybe the seminal moment where you realized, okay, Regis is like hilariously funny, number one, but also two, the people on the show are real. They're not, from the casting couch or, handpicked because of how they look. They're real, authentic people. And I think that really gave not just Regis, but also the show, the whole endeavor, a sense of authenticity. Yeah. They didn't take themselves too seriously. I mean, when you're talking about $1 million, you could have the timpani rolling in the background, and you could have the lights dimmed, and you could build up all the drama like that, the pregnant pauses. But then for that to break the tension in the room was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, well, that was part of the allure of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and he says much at the beginning of the second season, or second series, before it became an actual series, was, "These are real people. that was part of the allure. And the best thing about it is that Regis, because Regis too is a real person, and that's what he based his whole career around, is being a real person.
Yeah, he's a man of the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's why he was so good at what he did, because he had absolutely zero pretense. And that's why he worked on that show. And the best part about it is, and I'm going to get into my little Regis moment, because I know we all talk about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and that's really good, but he did a lot of series television too. And he was basically himself. But there was one time where he was not himself, or maybe he was an exaggerated version of himself. I believe it was a season 4 episode of How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, yes!
Yeah, and I think we've got this on the list, actually, but Best Burger in New York.
Oh, yes.
Where Regis is the host of $1 Million Heads or Tails. And for some reason, maybe it was just Ted, talking Regis up as Ted is wont to do. Regis seems to have the superhuman strength about him.
Oh, yeah. Well, just remember, Ted Mosby is an unreliable narrator, considering he can tell his children about all the times he slept with various women, but he won't tell his kids about the time he smoked weed.
No, Greg. It was a sandwich. He was eating a sandwich.
Sure he was.
Okay, Greg, you have any thoughts about any Regis memories?
Oh, well, you mentioned the Best Burger in New York. That is a great episode of How I Met Your Mother. He's great in it. But I want to bring up, we can't go without mentioning Regis without talking about all the times he was on David Letterman over the years.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Yes, David Letterman even went so far as to say that Regis was the perfect guest.
And
he was.
Yeah. And in fact, one of my favorite moments of all time was the famous episode of The Late Show after 9/11. Dave does this. Dave does the great monologue, what we were all feeling after 9/11, and then right before, Regis is the first guest to come out. And so when they come back from the commercial break and it's back to Dave, he says to the audience, "Okay, now here comes the hard part." Meaning Regis is the hard part. Like, okay, that was easy. Now that's of course that's the joke. This is the easy part, but he's like, okay, this is the hard part. But I mean, God, there's this one clip, if you can find it on YouTube. It's of Dave and Regis, and they're talking about some stuff, and they're talking on top of the marquee of the Ed Sullivan Theater. And that's like, wow. You have these two legends of television sitting on top of one of the most famous marquees in New York City. There's nothing better than that.
Not even close.
No. And there's one other thing I want to mention, because I don't want to go without saying it, but I remember Regis was because we're going to do a future installment called It Was a Thing at WrestleMania, about celebrities at WrestleMania, that we'll get to one of these days.
Yeah, Regis was a big wrestling fan.
Oh yes. He was he had all the WWF guys on his shows over the years. And there's a great clip of Bret Hart putting Regis in the sharpshooter. That was hilarious. He had Stone Cold on his show. God, it was incredible. But one of my favorite moments is WrestleMania 7. He is the guest announcer with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan for the main event between Hulk Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter. And Regis is so great. He's like, "Oh my God, Gorilla, can you believe this? I'm at the main event of WrestleMania. It's the Hulkster. I can't believe this." In like his typical Regis way, announcing the match.
He's out of control!
This Sergeant Slaughter, he's out of control. I mean, come on. Gilman, can you believe this? I'm at WrestleMania.
I'm going to add one more thing to the Regis list, especially, and this is related to Letterman. I think it was about 15 years ago at this point, maybe even a little bit longer, maybe even a little less, maybe 14 years ago. It was sometime in the mid-2000s. Regis appeared on Letterman as a singing guest.
Yes.
Yes. Because remember,
Regis...
He too is a very good lyric baritone.
Yeah, and I mean he's multi-talented. We obviously knew that. He was on as a singing guest, and this is Christmas time. He actually released that year an album of Christmas songs that year.
I remember that. I remember him doing a duet with the
occupant of the White House.
Well, he was just some guy from Queens at the time, and I'm like, yeah, who knew? Anyway.
Yeah, that didn't age terribly well.
No, it did not.
But, I did want to throw in that a certain 45th
occupant of the White House
appeared in a cameo because...
Oh, wait, hold on, Michael. You mean the 44th?
Occupant of the White House.
Okay, 44th.
Occupant of the White House.
Yes, I see what you did there.
Because for some reason we count Grover Cleveland as two different people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and all emails should be sent to Greg at It Was a Thing on TV.
Hey, I am just being technical, folks. This is the Millennium actually started in 2001.
He's not wrong.
So as I was saying to the nice people, Regis was singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And, at the end, they had that person at the end say, "Rudolph, you're hired." I forget which reindeer. "You're fired." And I'll be the first person to admit it. The very next day, I went on Amazon and I ordered that CD. I have the Regis Philbin Christmas album on CD.
It's a good listen. It's a really good listen.
If you can get by,
if you can get past the end of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, it's a very good listen.
If you can get by the end of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, sung by John Doe.
Yeah.
And also if you can sort of get by the overtones in "Baby It's Cold Outside." That's another song that didn't age terribly well.
No, it did not.
No. But yeah, that was my one takeaway is after hearing Regis on Letterman, I got that CD, and that's been a staple in my Christmas music collection for 15 years now, or thereabouts. And I only have mild regrets.
Only mild regrets?
Well, again, there's two songs that I think we could do without. But, again, he's multi-talented, and it sort of fits the bill of my Christmas music collection because I have like half traditional and half corny. And this definitely falls in the corn side.
Yeah, I will say this. No Christmas music collection is complete without the Go-Go's singing, "I'm going to spend my Christmas with the Dalek."
I was going to say no Christmas music collection is complete without Shatner Claus. I have that too.
Just two recommendations from Uncle Mike and Uncle Chico.
What about all the songs from A Colbert Christmas?
And Uncle Greg.
But guys, do you remember the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire computer games?
Oh, of course.
Oh, yes. It's like they started out really good with Jellyvision developing them. And then Ludia got the license, and they were okay. And now it seems like they're coming out with another one later this year.
They are?
They are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that just broke a couple of days ago, and there were some screenshots, and not even kidding, it looks like it's a PS2 or maybe a PS3 game at best.
Yeah.
Is this going to be on Switch or something?
Yes, it's going to be on Switch or something.
Okay.
It's also going to be on...
And the other, and PS4, I believe. I don't think PS5 necessarily. That's not coming out till Christmas.
No, they're not going to put any of that budget stuff on PS5. Till
I'm going to tell you right now, I got my money for the PS5, but continue.
But yeah, it's going to be on PS4, I would assume, not necessarily PS5 at this point, and Xbox One.
That's gonna be. But I mean, the Millionaire computer games, those were great times. I think my aunt from Colorado one year got me the Millionaire Sports Edition for Christmas.
Well, it's actually really impeccable timing, because if this was any normal year, myself and Chico would not be here right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not to bring up any sort of regrets or stuff that we can't really control, but we would both be in Vegas now, and that reminds me of last year, because a very close friend of the trivia and game show communities, Ed Toutant, passed away about a year and a half ago at this point, maybe even closer to 2 years ago. I think it was like November or December of 18 or so.
Yeah, it was around that.
And at last year's event, good friend of his, trusted friend of his, Paul Bailey, basically, I don't want to say gave away all his stuff, but gave away with the condition that if you can afford to donate money towards a cause, donate money and we'll let you take what you want. And
sure enough, we pretty much loaded up. But the thing of it is, it's like I got like all this stuff, but and Mike will attest to this. I felt terrible.
You had mixed feelings. I mean, it's good that this stuff was salvaged to people who will thoroughly enjoy and take care of the stuff. But also, at the other hand, it's like, did it really have to happen under these circumstances?
Yeah.
And that's why we say screw cancer around these parts.
Indeed.
It's just one of the things that I got that, Greg just mentioned. I have a sealed copy of the Millionaire Sports game on CD. But also, this is a show and tell. I know Chico knows about this.
Oh, I don't.
Greg does too, but I'm going to get this.
I don't think I do. This is going to be a surprise to me. What is it?
Oh, yeah, baby.
Wait. Not just that.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. Not just that.
Oh, wait,
yeah.
there's more.
There's more.
Wait, there's more. He's out of control.
Wait,
my class is out of control.
There's more. And also, if you want to play at home, there's 2 blanks.
2 blanks. For those that
stop Mike Klaus. He's out of control.
For those who aren't on Zoom, Mike is showing all the checks Regis would have for Ed in his Millionaire episode. But one thing,
and 2 blanks.
2 blanks, but
and 2 blanks.
One thing,
there's 7 checks here.
So, Mike, I did notice when you showed Ed's checks there, they had the date of 1/31/01. So I'm curious, were those from his original? Because for those of you who don't know, Ed did win the $1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I guess you can tell that story right now, Mike.
Okay, so what the story is, Ed Toutant originally appeared on the show January 28th and the 31st of 2001. So he was a carryover contestant.
Mm-hmm.
And he lost on a badly written question. I think it was at like the $16,000 range, maybe $8,000. It definitely was not $32,000. It was below the second safety area. And due to this faulty question, he was invited back on the show on September 7th of 2001. So we're talking 4 days before 9/11. And he won what would have been the value of the escalating jackpot at that time, because if you remember, the show added $10,000 to the top prize for every contestant that didn't win the $1 million. So Kevin Olmsted won the big jackpot in April of 2001 for a total of $2.18 million. But since Ed's faulty question was in the middle of this run, they said, you know what? We're not going to let you play for $1 million, even though that was all said and done. Since this was during the escalating jackpot days, we're going to let you come and play for how much you would have properly been playing for, which was $1.86 million. And lo and behold, Ed Toutant won the $1.86 million. And I, at this the Trivia Nationals last year, when Paul Bailey was trying to give away all of Ed's trivia stuff and memorabilia, I mean, there were anything you could think of that had to do with millionaire, Ed had it. I picked up a window cling from McDonald's.
What?
It's
a window cling.
A window. I mean, it's just rolled up. It's one of those that you'd stick in the window. If they're like pitching, dollar drinks or 2 for $5 Big Macs or whatnot. It was a window cling like that. I didn't know have a place for it, but I have it still in my possession.
I didn't know those existed.
Oh, he had everything millionaire. He had multiple copies of every game, home game, video game. I mentioned the sports CD earlier. He had the electronic games, the handheld games that Tiger made. He had everything.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually, at the end of the Trivia Nationals, they basically said, if anybody wants anything, take it, because if it's not going to be taken, it's going to be thrown out. So, I mean, I still have a number of things. I have a couple of... I
have a bunch of cheese keychains.
You see, I didn't get the keychains. Like I said, I have a McDonald's window cling from 20 years ago. I've got the sports CD game. I've got the handheld game in packaging still. And the one that I wanted, and I think this is a complete set, because I bet you the $1 million or the 1.86 million was either a real check or it wasn't fake like this. Because this is not Regis's signature. That's definitely a
reproduction.
Definitely an auto pen, yeah. But the thing is, I've got his $500,000 check. I've got his $250,000 check, his $125,000, his $64,000, his $32,000. And then I've got 2 blank checks, which are signed by Regis, but I'm pretty sure these are fake because they do not look anything alike. It looks like maybe some sort of PA sort of forged Regis's signature on it. So that's my sort of millionaire takeaway. I mean, Ed Toutant was a hell of a guy, number one, but also just the legacy. His generosity is, or was, and it still is if you think about it, overwhelming. Because I mean, even since his passing in November of 2018, he's done a lot of good in terms of his philanthropy, in terms of different charities associated with his name. Yeah, he's a legend, to say the least. And the world is a lot less bright without him.
Yeah. Same could be said for Regis, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, guys, I know that's sort of a downer to end the show, but I think it was good to reflect upon some of these memories. And, I mean, maybe doing The Neighbors isn't necessarily justice for him, but, well, again, for every good show, you know, you got to have a clunker in there.
Yeah, I mean, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Live with Regis and Kathy Lee. So many things. Before, America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent. $1 Million Password.
Yeah, but yeah, all of those things made Regis an icon. But The Neighbors, it was just a thing on TV.
I'm going to trust them and go with B, kilobytes.
Final answer?
Final answer. I'm a fat man, Regis. My heart can't take it.
I'm just trying to help you sweat off a few pounds. You're right, it's KB for $8,000.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Place to Be Nations, JT Rosero and Chad Campbell here. We want to let you know that we have over 24 podcasts available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlaceToBeNation.com. We now offer them to you on 2 great feeds. On the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, we dive into topics running the gamut from today's WWE to the glory days of yesteryear and the ins and outs of the territory days. In addition to our full-length shows, we also deliver to you special pod blasts on topics old and new.
The Place to Be Nation Pop feed is a veritable treasure trove of great content, offering tremendous shows covering the land of movies, television, life, comics, and sports, brought to you by the most knowledgeable and insightful folks in the podcast world.
You can find all these great shows, plus archives of our past podcasts from over the past 8 years as well by subscribing to both feeds on iTunes. And while you're there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others, available on PlaceToBeNation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus in-depth search projects, and much more. Be sure to support our site by using www.PlaceToBeNation.com/Amazon when doing your online shopping. And we want to thank our friends at Boneheads, Wing Bar, ProWrestlingOnly.com, and HistoryOfWrestling.com as well. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Minisode number 1. Submission 1283. Taskmaster US. Taskmaster US aired on Comedy Central from April 27th to May 18th of 2018 for a total of 8 episodes. Well, this is the first mini episode. We're not going to devote a whole half hour, 40 minutes, what have you, like we usually do to this. We're going to just talk about this for maybe 20 minutes or so. Coming up on Sunday, which actually is the day this episode will be released. We're going to release this late Saturday, early Sunday. Coming up on Sunday night at 9 o'clock on the CW, they're going to start airing the original British version of Taskmaster, which if you've never seen it, by all means, watch it, record it. It's an amazingly brilliant TV show. And just because you don't recognize the names, just because you don't recognize the contestants on the show, I mean, they're obviously British celebrities, so odds are you're not going to know who they are. You're not going to know who Greg Davies is, the host. And Alex Horn, you're probably not going to know. I mean, if you watch some British shows like 8 Out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, you'll recognize those names. Greg Davies has been on 8 Out of 10 Cats Does Countdown. So has Alex Horn. But we're not going to talk about that because there actually was an American rendition, Comedy Central, back in 2018. It aired for 8 episodes, and it was essentially burned off over a 4-week span. It was very much like Taskmaster that you know and love from Britain, but there were a couple of really bad, I don't want to say flaws, but design issues. Well, first, we had Reggie Watts hosting it. And Reggie Watts, what can we say? He's a brilliant, brilliant comedian, brilliant actor. Nothing wrong with him at all.
No.
Funny guy. Very talented. He's the band leader on The Late Late Show with James Corden. So he does it all. And he hosted this for 8 episodes. Again, nothing wrong with him. The celebrities they had, well, we'll give credit to 2 of them because that's how many I had heard of before this show. And really how many I've heard of since this show. The participants for the whole series of 8 episodes, you had Dylan Francis. I'm almost tempted to say that Dylan Francis. Yeah, that Dylan Francis. Don't worry, I don't know who he is either. And Freddie Highmore.
Yeah, that's right. The good doctor himself.
Okay, well, there's 3 people I've heard of then. But yeah, Freddie Highmore I really didn't recognize. And Kate Berlant. Yeah, another person. Hey, she's a person. I'm sure she's done something, but just doesn't ring a bell. But then the 2 names that I recognize, Lisa Lampanelli.
Yeah, of course, Lisa Lampanelli.
Yep.
Yeah,
Queen of the Zinger, Lisa Lampanelli.
Oh yeah, she's got a mouth on her, to say the least. She took part in Last Comic Standing, if I do remember correctly.
Yeah.
You are correct, sir.
And also she took part in The Celebrity Apprentice 5.
Mm-hmm.
And also the big name, or at least the biggest name, then, now, Ron Funches. What can you say about Ron Funches?
You can't say enough about Ron Funches. If you don't know who this Ron Funches is, what podcast are you even listening to?
Yeah. Plus, also, he's gotten like a lot smaller over the last 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
He either got surgery to trim down, or he has been taking care of himself. He used to be really big, and now he's literally half the man he used to be.
Now his hair is really big.
Oh, his hair's always been really big, but yeah, where don't you know him from? He was on the TV show Undateable, if you remember that, back about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was a thing. It was a halfway decent show. He's also been on Blackish. He was a regular on At Midnight. He's all over the place. You've seen him. You know who he is.
And nowadays you can hear him. You can't see him, but you can hear him on shows like Final Space, Harley Quinn, Craig Yeagers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he'd be on the new Crank Anchors. That would be perfect for him.
As long as they get Tracy Morgan
also,
back for it.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Oh, they had to get Tracy Morgan back for that.
And then he was also an occasional guest on a favorite of mine, Talk Show the Game Show.
Nice.
And that's not going on the list. I'm sorry. I love that show too much to be on the list. But one show that definitely is on the list that he's been on, The Kroll Show.
Ah, nice.
Yes. So the entire format, very similar to the British counterpart. The problem is the British show comfortably fit in a 45-minute span. And this show, they gave 30 minutes to. And 30 minutes just doesn't seem to give it justice. It felt rushed.
Yeah.
It felt compressed. And it just didn't seem right. It seemed, for lack of a better word, Americanized.
Basically.
You have to give it a proper 45-minute or hour time slot, because on the British show they usually have 2 or 3 recorded events or stunts, and then there's one done live in the studio, and that was totally lost on the U.S. version. It was 1, maybe 2 stunts or 2 events, and then you had the live event heavily edited in the studio. And it just seemed like they were trying to rush everything, where really, in order to fully savor it, you can't rush that type of stuff.
Nope. You gotta. It all has to happen organically, and part of
and I was just going to say, it has to happen organically. Absolutely.
And part of the problem of Taskmaster US is that it wasn't organic. It was all sort of, because you said 45 minutes. This was half, not kind of commercials. This was half that time.
Yeah, I mean, it was 30 minutes, and then once you take out commercials, that cuts it down to 22 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just didn't have that natural flow. It felt very rushed. But also the way that Comedy Central handled this show, they didn't give the show a good time slot. They didn't say, you know what, we're going to put you on after South Park on Wednesday nights, or we're going to put you in some other good slot like the Tuesday night slot where Tosh.0 or Drunk History might be. Nope. Where did Taskmaster air? They put it on at 11 o'clock on Fridays. So this is the slot where you'd usually see The Daily Show and whatever show Comedy Central might have been airing at that point at 11:30 on the other 4 weeknights of the week. But to make matters worse, they decided to do a burn-off, 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
So you got the first 2 episodes in week 1, the second 2 episodes in week 2, third 2 episodes in week 3, the last 2 episodes in week 4, and it was gone within a month.
Yeah.
And it's a darn shame. Like I said, I think if it was properly handled, this would have had a much better chance. But also, just Friday nights on Comedy Central is like the nights where they burn off Chappelle reruns and
it was the
stand-up comedy bits.
It was the slot of death, basically.
It's the Comedy Central slot of death. I mean, yeah. Now it's like I said, old. Well, it would be sort of old at this point. Chappelle Show reruns and some stand-up comedy bits, or they'd show reruns of old roasts. Yeah, this, unfortunately, it was dead before it even started, which is a darn shame.
Yeah. For the record, Kate Berlant won.
Yeah, she did end up winning the entire series, and she actually ended up being the overall winner on 4 of the 8 episodes.
Yeah.
She ended up winning 4 episodes. Lisa Lampanelli won 2. Freddie Highmore and Dylan Francis won 1 each.
And Ron Funches won not an episode.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. But hey, he's had the biggest career of the 5 of them, so he wins in that way.
He wins at life.
Yeah. I mean, he's lost a ton of weight. He's been on a number of great shows. He's the ultimate winner in all this.
Yeah.
But, that's pretty much the extent of what we have to say about this. I know, that's why it's called a Minisode, but please, I can't speak for Chico and I can't speak for Greg, but watch Taskmaster on the CW on Sunday night. DVR it. It is hilarious. It is brilliant. And maybe if the ratings are halfway decent, maybe that might encourage the CW to do their own version of Taskmaster.
Hey,
maybe a proper version.
It wouldn't be the first time that the CW took an already existing UK show and pretty much ran with it. We all know Penn and Teller Fool Us was a big thing in the UK. Then it exploded in the States, and they started making their own version with Allison Hannigan as host. Allison Hannigan, really good host.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Allison Hannigan. Come on.
She's good at everything.
Definitely.
And we can't really compare this to Fool Us, but obviously, Whose Line Is It Anyway has its roots in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, also, while we're talking about British shows that have appeared on the CW, I almost feel like we need to talk about Hypnotize Me, which is going to be a future installment, which is based on the British show You're Back in the Room.
Yep.
Yeah, that one was okay in Britain, but something was lost in translation when it came over here.
God bless Taye Diggs. He made the most of that show.
He tried.
Yeah, he tried.
You know
That's all I
what?
can say.
He has a career in light entertainment presentation. Just saying.
Yeah. So I think that's just about all we're going to say about Taskmaster. But like I said, please watch it. It's worth your time. Record it. What have you. You're going to get your money's worth out of it. It is a brilliant TV show.
It is.
Alas, when it was originally brought over here, 8.5 hours later, and, it becomes an installment on It Was the Thing on TV.
10 days later. Wow.
Wow, indeed.
America does not like British stuff.
But that's not true. They love Doctor Who.
And they love Simon Cowell.
Yeah, but they don't like Taskmaster. Or maybe they do like Taskmaster. The problem is the CW just absolutely killed it because they didn't give it any promotion, and they stuck it at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. Because just barely a week after our episode on Taskmaster US, it's canceled. It's gone after one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The exclusive one and done club with the rich list. And Turn On.
And Secret Talents of the Stars.
And other shows, yes.
I forgot about Secret Talents of the Stars.
George Takei singing country music. How could you forget it?
Oh my God.
But yeah, I don't know if it was because of us or in spite of us. I don't know if it was because of us or something else. But yeah, Taskmaster did not get many eyes on it, and it's a shame because A, it's a good show, but also B, even talking with my girlfriend, I said, watch this Taskmaster. You really like it because she enjoys British shows, British comedy. And she enjoyed it and said, oh, I can't wait to see the next episode. And I said, spoiler, that's the only episode you're going to get. And she was disappointed.
Does this mean we're all going to have to go on YouTube now?
Well, I think they've said this. They're going to put like the rest of it on the CW Seed channel.
Yeah, they did say that, but also, as far as I know, only up until season 7 is on YouTube, not season 8, which is where they started this the US run from.
Okay.
And actually, I'm taking a look at it right now, and it looks like the last episode that they posted as of the time of recording is Series 7, Episode 2.
Okay.
So we got to get through the rest of Series 7, then sometime in the near future, Series 8 will pop up.
All right. But yeah, let's hope that some American cable channel gives the British version of Taskmaster a chance.
Or again, if worst meets worst, there is the Taskmaster channel on YouTube, an official Taskmaster channel at that, and they've got the first 6 series up, plus the first 2 episodes of Series 7, so there's more than enough to keep you occupied.
Yeah, well, that was Taskmaster US, and the unfortunate cancellation after 1 episode of the British version of Taskmaster on the CW, as we talked about. One and done. Man, what an exclusive club to be in with stuff like The Rich List and Emily's Reasons Why Not, which are both also future entries on this podcast. But yeah, hopefully maybe Taskmaster, the British version, will get a fair shot on American television sometime. Oh yeah, and since I mentioned Taskmaster, I might as well throw this for Joe Morata and Michael Quinn.
He should, my son.
Yeah, it's much better. Okay, well, in the meantime, we got a couple of shows that have gone onto the Place to Be Nation pop feed in the most recent week. In the 29th episode of Laugh-In Theater, Andy Afferton was joined by Ben Locke of the Special Relations to do a live watch of the 2003 comedy Old School with Will Ferrell. The guys discuss airport security, Grey's Anatomy, getting drunk on wine, best band speeches, bread makers, funerals. Virgil's favorite, the Olive Garden, bathrobes, the many uses of vegetables, the Guy Code, Todd Phelps cameos, School Spirit, and more. And in the latest episode of Diamond Conversations, it features a interview with the head baseball coach of Kaiser University Baseball and former MLB catcher Brooke Fordyce. Brooke shares his recent battle with COVID-19 and preparing his team for what would be a shortened season, and reminisces about his playing days and coming up through the New York Mets system. Also, be sure to check out the PTPN Wrestling feed, which includes a dive into topics running the gamut from today's WWE through yesteryear. It includes Place to Be Podcast, Main Event, Jenny and the Gems, Body Pressure Luck, P2B NXT, the NWA Saturday Special, and so much more. Subscribe today. While you're at it, subscribe to Jennifer Smith's Jenny Position feed as well. It's the home of Geek and Sassy, Talkin' Pop, Freak Out Drive-In, The Journey Through Infinity, Telling Stories, and more. And check out the North-South Connection, brought to you by JT Rizzero, Chad Campbell, and Aaron George. It's the home for Wrestling Warzone, No Holds Barred, The Extreme 3A Dance, The Ruthlessly Aggressive Podcast, Carolina Dreaming, Jeff Learns Wrestling, and more. And on our social media pages, we got the greatest song from a movie tournament going on right now in round 2. You can keep tabs on the tournament Facebook page for details. And right now, we got the 2020 Stretch Project going to the end of the year that's determining the greatest WCW match ever. You have until the end of the year to do research, promote matches, and build your list. Conversation rules can be found at www.facebook.com/GWCW matches or on the Pro Wrestling Only message board. And be sure not to forget to check out PlaceToBeNation.com each and every day. We have new voices and fresh takes, bringing you articles on topics in the worlds of wrestling, sports, and pop culture, including Trend SmackDown and Fox Report, This Week in the WWE by John Crow, Steve Riddle's Wonderful World Disney Reviews, Paulie's Perspective, Matt's live-action Disney movie reviews, and Ben's Unpopular Opinion. And don't forget about veteran columns like Glenn Butler's Wednesday Walk Around the Web. And if you're doing online shopping over at Amazon.com, be sure to click on the Amazon banner on the right side of the Place to Be Nation homepage, or use www.placetobenation.com/Amazon, and it'll take you right to Amazon and help set P2BN at no cost to you. Okay, so we've done Taskmaster, and we did our tribute to Regis earlier in the show. So now we get into the quote-unquote serious part of the show. We don't do dramas this often, people, but we had to make an exception for this. This is from the legendary Steven Bochco from ABC back in 2005, and it has the dumbest concept ever for a show about a policeman who gets shot on the job and he becomes blind. And you'd think, okay, he's blind, he's no longer going to be a detective, right? No, silly, this is television. You gotta have the dumbest concepts ever. Anything can get on TV. So here we go. It's about a detective who's blind who solves crimes, and it's called Blind Justice. Oh my god, enjoy this episode, folks. Enjoy. Episode 82, Submission 1108, Blind Justice. Blind Justice aired on ABC from March 8th to June 21st, 2005, for a total of 13 episodes. Guys, I'm so sorry for this.
Oh.
I'm very sorry. This is the first show I think all three of us, when watching, tapped out and said, "Nope, we're done.
Can't do it.
We can't." I sat through all 20 episodes of Xavier Renegade Angel. I sat through every episode of Second Chance 1987/Boys Will Be Boys. I got through the first 3 episodes and got to the last episode. That was it. Done.
I was done after 20 minutes of the first episode. I mean, this takes to watch this, it takes some serious suspension of disbelief. And I just don't have it in me.
Yeah, I lasted about as long as Chico. I lasted about maybe 20 minutes at most, and then I said, "Nope, this is ridiculous. Nope, can't do it."
So a lot of this is going to be just rehash and recap. But we did do our research, so we hope you'll revisit this in the future. You'd be a whole lot better than we are at it anyway. So what was this show about?
Well, the show's called Blind Justice.
So I'm guessing that justice is involved.
Yes.
And I'm guessing that blind justice is involved.
Yes.
Yeah, justice is blind. Let's remember that.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a police procedural, which was big at the time.
And done by one of the greats of the genre.
Steven Bochco, yes.
Yeah. NYPD Blue, baby.
NYPD Blue. In fact, this show took the spot that was left by NYPD Blue.
Yeah, a lot of good that did.
Mm-hmm.
And like we mentioned in the last episode, for every good one, there's got to be a bad one. So for every Hill Street Blues and NYPD Blue, you've got a Blind Justice, and you've got a definite future installment Cop Rock.
Hey, for every Doogie Howser MD, you get one Capital Critters.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Steven Bochco basically got the idea of this show, where he was listening to, trying to remember what the name of the band was.
It was the Blind Boys of Alabama.
The Blind Boys of Alabama. And they were in concert, and he was just noticing how incredibly, inherently sort of, they had heightened proprioception, the Blind Boys of Alabama. They came on stage, they were basically one unit, and they just performed like it was nothing. I don't know how you get a cop show out of that, but Steven Bochco just looked at ABC and said, "It ain't like any cop show you've ever seen before."
And somehow people at ABC were like, "Okay, we'll give you 13 episodes."
And so 13 episodes. And it was, and they ordered it as a mid-season replacement. But it ended up airing. When did it start ending? Yep, it aired in mid-season, sure enough.
More Chief.
Mm-hmm. They needed something to plug up that hole of NYPD Blue left. What can I say?
Yeah. So what is Blind Justice about? Well, guys, buckle up, because this is without a doubt the dumbest... I'd say this is the most ridiculous plot for a series ever, okay?
Here we go.
A New York City police detective named Jim Dunbar and his partner are ambushed by a gunman with an AK-47. 3 other officers are out of ammunition, and Dunbar's partner is frozen in fear, so Dunbar takes action, but also takes a bullet, which leaves him blind.
All of this is covered in the first minute of the pilot, by the way.
Yes. He sues the police force and is allowed to keep his job despite his blindness. He's partnered with Detective Karen Betancourt, who doubts his ability to effectively do his job. He also must deal with self-doubt and his wife Christie's doubts by seeing a psychiatrist.
All of this is covered in the second minute of the pilot.
Yeah. So yeah, if you've seen the first 2 minutes of the show, you got the gist of the series. Okay, that's it, everybody. Thank you.
I thought Regis's The Neighbors was simple to explain. Nope. But yeah, Blind Justice basically is a sort of police procedural where the lead is, stop me if you've heard this one, blind.
He's blind. 'Cause get it, it's Blind Justice. And the detective is blind.
But apparently he can still do his job.
He can still... So it's basically... It's Daredevil without all the superhero stuff.
Yeah. It's Daredevil without all the super. Yeah,
He
even has some of the special effects used on Daredevil.
And by Daredevil, we mean the Netflix series, not the Ben Affleck movie.
Yeah.
Even though this was like 2 years after the Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Mm-hmm. You know what? We have to talk. We've talked about how it became to be. We talked about what the show is about.
Yeah.
Now we have to talk about who was actually on the show.
Oh, this is going to be... All right. So we have Ron Eldard playing the lead role in Detective Jim Dunbar. So he's our blind justice man.
Now, take it now. I just want to point this out. Ron Eldard, completely sighted.
Yes. They didn't actually get a blind guy for this show, folks.
Mm-hmm. But they did end up getting the guy who would be in future installments, Men Behaving Badly.
Oh, he's the guy. He's the guy that was with Rob Schneider in the American version?
Yes.
Oh my God, how did I not realize that?
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
He was also on future installment, Bakersfield PD.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Ron Eldard, he was no Morton Clunes. See what I did there?
Yeah, I totally saw what you did there.
I was referencing the UK version of Men Behaving Badly, starring the guy who plays Dark Morton.
That would be the guy that Ron Eldard plays in Men Behaving Badly. Now, playing his wife, Christy, is Rita Sofer, who would be on future installments Coupling. She played Susan.
Oh, that's...
She wasn't the original choice for Susan, but she played Susan.
Oh, that'll be fun when we get to the Coupling US.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking on her wiki at her filmography.
Uh-huh.
She played a role on a TV movie called Saved by the Bell Hawaiian Style.
Yes, she did! Yes, she did!
That better be on the list.
Oh, it is on the list!
It was long on the list.
It was like one of the first things on the list.
Oh, you damn right.
So she was on that too.
Yeah. She played the hottie of the week that Zach was trying to get into. Oh, sorry.
Zach Morris is trash.
There. We knew that was coming after you said that, yes.
And hey, Zach Morris, to tie it back in, was on the final couple of seasons of NYPD Blue.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yep. He was with Sipowicz.
And then playing Detective Karen Betancourt was one Marisol Nichols.
Yeah. That name sounds familiar from some reason.
Oh, yeah, she's on a little show nowadays called Riverdale.
Oh, yeah. Twin Peaks meets the Archivers.
Yeah, which also has Madge and Amik.
Yes. And we should also add that she is going to pop up on future installment GCB.
Good. Which stands for... It stands for Good Christian Bitches.
Among other things, yes.
Okay, and another partner of Jim's is Detective Tom Selway, who's played by Reno Wilson, who also plays a police officer in Mike and Molly.
Okay, I know who that is. Yeah.
But he's known more these days for being a voice actor.
Yes. I was going through his wiki page. He's done a lot of voice acting.
Yeah, he's done like 3 Final Fantasy games.
Ooh.
He's done Operation Flashpoint, Red River, Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yeah, I know I've seen that name on the credits for American Dad.
Yep, and he's also in future installment Friday the Animated Series.
They did a Friday animated series. Okay, well, I have one hope. They better have gotten Tiny Zeus Lister to play DeBow in the Friday animated series, or else, no. Not going to bother. Because no Zeus. No. But Chico, you're going to love this.
I'm listening.
Playing Reno Wilson's partner as Detective Morty Russo. Frank Grillo.
The guy from the second
Captain America movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the third Captain America movie. He played Crossbones, and he was in the Purge sequels too.
Okay,
so that's a name.
That is indeed a name.
I didn't recognize him without the facial hair, so it was kind of jarring to see Frank Grillo with no facial hair.
Oh, I remember. It was the second Purge movie.
Yeah.
Next is Lieutenant Gary Fisk, who Jim had to sue to get back on the force, played by Michael Gaston, who is known mostly for being on Broadway, but he played Mr. Markle on The Adventures of Pete and Pete, the first episode.
Okay.
So if you remember that.
Yeah.
Finally, we have Dr. Alan Galloway, who was played by Saul Rubinek. Yes, that's Saul Rubinek.
That's Saul Rubinek?
Yeah, that's Saul Rubinek.
Well, actually, it looks like he had a somewhat recurring role on Bizarre, the John Biner show, because Wikipedia lists him being in 24 episodes. And, I believe this is a future installment. He was on 22 episodes of Inc. I'm pretty sure that's an installment.
That's already been on there.
Oh, yeah.
That done been on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, just to add a better TV show, he portrayed Donnie Douglas on Frasier.
All right.
15 episodes. I mean, that's not insignificant.
Yeah, and of course you can watch all of Frasier on Peacock.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it shows up on Hallmark Channel at like 4 a.m.
Oh, really? That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, if you're going through some insomnia, you can either watch Frasier on Hallmark or you can go watch Garfield and Friends on Boomerang.
Yes.
Just my recommendation for the insomniacs out there.
Be better than watching this, that's for damn sure.
Mm.
All right, so let's get into the recaps. All right, this is all thanks to TV.com. They managed to have details.
Somebody at TV.com actually sat through all of the episodes.
We thank that person, whoever he is. Okay, first the pilot. After Jim Dunbar loses his eyesight during a gunfight, the rehabilitated homicide detective attempts to return to active duty at a new precinct. Facing opposition and doubt from his co-workers and a lieutenant, he is regulated to handling a car theft case with Detective Karen Betancourt. Dunbar soon discovers that the recovered missing car might be connected to a larger ongoing serial homicide investigation.
In other words, it's your standard pilot.
Yeah.
It has all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
It has plot development and character development.
Yeah. It's about, hey, this guy's blind, folks. We want to.
It's like the sooner you come to grips with that, the better off we'll all be.
Yeah. And there's like one point in like the pilot where like he's like the only person in the room, Detective Dunbar, and he's like trying to navigate through the freaking police precinct like by himself so he can know where everything is, so he can get map it in his head.
Because that is awesome.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool sequence, the way it's edited together.
The funny thing is, that's about the time where I turned it off. It's like, nope, can't handle it. Thank you for playing. Nope.
No. Mike's, for those who obviously can't see us because we're recording on Zoom, Mike's snuggling with his Wheel of Fortune blanket on.
He has yet to throw it over his head so he can hide from God. So we've got... Oh, there he goes.
There he goes.
He's hiding his shame from God.
Yeah. Okay.
This is true blind justice right here.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right.
Episode 2, 4 Feet Under. The mounting frustration and pressure for Jim to prove himself and make things work as a detective and a person creates more tension with his colleagues and Karen as they collectively investigate the murder of a young boy. Jim's insecurities also begin to seep into his personal life at a dinner party with Christie's coworkers when, out of jealousy, he threatens his wife's boss, whom he believes was trying to flirt with her. His behavior puts additional strain on the marriage, and it brings up unresolved issues for Christie about his past infidelity.
Yeah, because he was unfaithful to his wife once.
It's always one time. It's always one time.
Yeah. Oh, guys, but here we go. Episode 3, Rub-a-Tub-Tub. And coincidentally, Rub-a-Tub-Tub is the title of a future TV movie about Robert Kraft.
That was bad. Greg, that was bad, and you should feel bad.
No, he shouldn't. That was brilliant.
Hey, as I said last week when I made my Woody Johnson joke, sorry, not sorry. I'm just going to go after every racist NFL owner from here on in. I'll have a diss on Jerry Jones. I'll have a diss on Dan Snyder.
Yeah, Dan Snyder, you're on watch.
Yeah. You're going to get burned on this podcast, baby. As Mike takes a sip in his sippy cup.
Sippy cup? Does this look like a sippy cup?
Oh my God, put that away. Put that away.
Sippy cup.
All right. Rub-a-Tub-Tub. The 8th Precinct is distraught when one of their detectives from the anti-crime unit is found murdered. Carl Desmond was shot in the head and his body was thrown in a dumpster. His colleagues and grieving widow Mary Beth suspects that his murder was an act of revenge by someone he had previously put away. Karen is put in charge of the case, as she and the rest of the detectives must tread carefully in the investigation into the murder of one of their own. When Mary Beth's past infidelities come to life, Tom and Morty investigate a married man named Don Bellamy, whom she was having an affair with. While going in a different direction, Karen and Jim put their reputation on the line with other cops at their squad when their main suspect is Carl's partner, Eric, who had put in a request for a transfer the week before the murder. In the midst of the investigation, a frustrated Jim confronts Morty, who is purposely making things difficult for him by rearranging the squad so that he would walk and bang into the office furniture. That's not good. That's not
I'm sorry,
good.
that's great.
That's not good.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, one thing I want to note. Now I mentioned there was a guest star in episodes 2 and 3. Now this person was probably somewhat well known yet, but it was surprising to see this person as a minor guest star in episodes 2 and 3, playing a coroner in episodes 2 and 3. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Jane Lynch.
Oh,
Wow,
God,
okay.
I love Jane Lynch.
Yes. And the reason that's so surprising is because this is, 2005? This would have been she was probably she had already done, Best in Show, and wasn't she in A Mighty Wind?
Yeah.
Yeah, Best of Show would have been 2000, so this is definitely after Best in Show.
Yeah.
But this is 3 or 4 years before Glee, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 4 years before Glee, yeah. That just took me by surprise. I'm like, wow, Jane Lynch, really? In 2005?
I love Jane Lynch.
Oh, yeah. Jane Lynch is like a national treasure.
I love her in Glee. I loved her in Hollywood Game Night. And I loved her in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Hey, I liked her in Wreck-It Ralph.
And we may just like her in the reboot of Weakest Link.
Maybe that'll be a future entry, the Weakest Link reboot with Jane Lynch. Who knows?
We'll see.
Hopefully it'll be good. Fingers crossed. I'm just glad we'll have the Weakest Link back on TV.
Episode 4. Up on a roof.
Up on a roof.
Up on a roof.
Up on a roof.
Up on a Roof is the name of the episode. The pivotal moment where Terry Jansen, his former partner, failed to step up and take out the bank robber, continues to haunt Jim as he's forced to relive losing his eyesight in a recurring nightmare. This is the first minute of the pilot, by the way. Jim struggles to move on with his life, but a joint investigation with the 77th Precinct pairs him and his current colleagues with Terry and another detective as they investigate the murder of 2 gang members.
Oh, man.
Oh, so this is where you get into the meaningful PTSD discussions.
Yeah.
And the ramifications of heavy-duty police work.
Yeah. That sort of stuff. Episode 5, Marlon's Brando. Oh, this is going to be fun to read. 2 women are brutally raped, and their faces have been branded with a deep, jagged cut by their attacker. See, I told you. When I said this was going to be fun, I meant this is going to be really awful. The detectives interview a white supremacist in prison. Oh, joy. A white supremacist. Named Leonard Mattis, who might be connected somehow with the attacks due to him being related to the victims through blood and marriage. He denies any involvement. They don't believe him, as Mattis's range of power and connections in and out of prison is a major factor in these assaults. Meanwhile, Jim's patience begins to wear thin as his growing agitation over Morty's actions against him becomes more apparent to the other detectives in the precinct. Also, the fear of no longer being someone who is adequate enough to be there for and protect his wife and partner begins to take hold, as the investigation potentially endangers Karen and causes Jim to sporadically visualize Christy as a victim.
Greg, I'm suddenly reminded of something you mentioned before the show. Who the real MVP of the series was?
Oh, yeah, his seeing eye dog. His seeing eye dog was great.
I can sort of tell that after hearing these recaps.
Hank. The seeing eye dog was Hank.
Yeah, I wonder if Hank ever. And Pachinski ever exchanged phone calls with each other.
I don't know.
And Mike just put on his wheel fortune blanket and is shaking his head. Like I can't believe you said that. Which is a future entry, by the way, of John Sally, but we're not going to talk about that.
Right oh God!
Is that did we put that on the list?
I'm gonna put it on the list right now.
Good.
You actually made a reference to Pachinski.
I did. And by the way, Mike, still, just remember. I want you to remember this. One day wasn't enough time. It was all because of St. Peter. Remember that.
One day is not enough time.
It was all because of St. Peter.
There you go.
We'll talk about St. Peter again soon.
Anyway, episode 6, Soul Man.
Wait, Soul Man? The show with Dan Aykroyd?
No, but that's on the list too.
It's already on.
Okay, cool. But yeah, this is Soul, spelled S-E-O-U-L, man. Jim's doubts and fears begin to weigh heavily on him after a serial murderer just claimed his 4th victim bumps into him while he was on his way to work and escapes. He believes that if he still had his sight, he would have been able to apprehend the suspect. This belief is reinforced by Marty's snide comments and the chief of detectives reprimanding Jim for pulling out his weapon in public. The facade of being in control and everything is all right begins to fall apart as Jim struggles to come to terms with the fact that he is no longer the same person he was a year ago. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Fisk attempts to intercede between Marty and Jim as the animosity between the two escalates to an all-new level.
What does that have to do with Seoul, South Korea?
I have no idea.
Blame the guy who recapped this for TV.com.
I'm guessing it was Koreatown in New York City. I don't know.
Like we said, all of us couldn't get through it. So you're gonna have to accept it. All the episodes are on YouTube, so you figure it out. Episode 7, Leap of Faith. Sam Burglass, who had sought a couple years ago to put away his former swim coach, Warren Doyle, from molesting him when he was a teenager, is found dead after falling 7 floors from his apartment window.
Ripped from the headlines!
Jim was previously part of the investigation into the deceased claims of abuse, which failed to make a conviction as the case was thrown out due to the lack of evidence. He suspects that Doyle is somehow involved in Sam's death and crusades to have him brought to justice. As the evidence begins to mount against Doyle, Jim believes that he may not be guilty of this crime, as something is off about the circumstances surrounding the death. Still certain that the man they have in custody is a child molester, Jim debates whether he and Karen should investigate further and seek out evidence that could put this man back on the streets and endanger the lives of other children. Meanwhile, Karen begins happily dating a nightclub owner, but Jim learns from a former colleague that this new guy may not be what he seems, as he has an unsavory secret past.
Everybody has an unsavory past now, it seems like.
I just want to know what Hank's doing.
Hank's up in here being a dog.
Yeah. Like, you go out, do your detective stuff, Jim. I'll just be here, licking my face.
Yeah, he's licking his face. Let's go with that. Episode 8, Past Imperfect. Nick receives an ultimatum from Jim to either reveal the dark past to Karen or he will do it for him. Infuriated by this whole no way out scenario, he promises instead to break off the relationship. Ooh. Later, after finding his car vandalized, the golf buddy of the deputy mayor uses that connection to involve the reluctant detectives of the 8th Precinct in his nasty battle with an ex-girlfriend for custody of their son. In the midst of all this, Greg Hermanson, an old friend of Jim, who served with him in the Gulf War, comes to visit and purge his soul of something that has been slowly eating at him for years. I don't know what it is either. Sorry.
And we don't care. Episode 9, In Your Face. Fact and fiction get all jumbled up in a homicide case involving a man who is shot in the face with a shotgun when the detectives learn of the victim's past activities and discover inconsistencies in the widow's story. Meanwhile, Karen gives Jim a hard time for not going to her first with the information about Nick's past. Okay, one thing I want to note, the guest star in episode 9, In Your Face.
Mm-hmm.
All right? All right, get ready, because this is someone who's going to come up in a future entry.
This is a mind blower. I can verify that.
Okay.
Zachary Quinto.
What?
That's right. Siler from Heroes and Spock himself, and of future installment, The Slap.
What? Oh wait, I know about the slap.
The slap.
I was the one to put the damn thing on the list.
We've already put the slap long on the list, buddy. It's
I know.
900, but oh my god, when we get to the slap,
Spock is gonna slap you.
Spock is gonna slap the shit out of a kid.
Oh boy.
And it's gonna be hilarious.
That is a future entry for another day, of course.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
What?
Episode 10.
Oh no, I don't.
No.
Oh,
I almost don't want to read this, but I have to. So, doggone.
Oh.
Much to the dismay of the detectives at the 8th Precinct, Jim's informant steps up a drug deal with Debbie Diamond, the girlfriend of his recently murdered second cousin. Sonny believes that this will help the police in their homicide investigation by giving them good leverage to apprehend and keep Debbie at the squad for questioning about his cousin's murder. The only problem with this deal is that he scheduled it to take place in a few hours with a blind man interested in purchasing the drugs.
Oh no. You won't believe what happens.
Oh I'm just...
Yeah.
Dunbar poses as a drug dealer while trying to solve a murder, but thugs beat him up and steal his guide dog. That's where it... Okay.
No! Don't. Why did you do that to poor Hank? Poor
That's
Hank.
horrible.
What did he ever do?
What did Hank ever do to you?
Yeah, what did the dog ever do to these drug dealers?
That's just sad.
And then when they can't find Hank, they get a suitable replacement. Puchinsky.
Oh! Stop it!
Everybody loves somebody sometime.
Greg, get me out of this.
Episode 11, Dance With Me. After a recommendation from Dr. Galloway to temporarily put aside the problems in their marriage before going to couples counseling, Christy and Jim set out on a quest to search for a fun and comforting activity to do that will bring them closer together. Artie Steckel, the man who found Hank, asked Jim to talk to his nephew, Pete, who has given up on living his life to the fullest after gradually becoming blind due to disease. Jim attempts to show Pete, who wants no help and only to be left alone, and that there are options out there where he can learn to cope and live a normal life with his blindness. Meanwhile, an elderly woman is found dead in her bedroom after it was consumed by an arson set fire. The main suspect is the landlord, who is also a firefighter. Oh, this is rigged right here, folks. The main suspect's a landlord, and he coincidentally happens to be a firefighter. No good. Which creates
NG, no good.
Which creates friction as it stirs up old feelings and a conflict of cops versus firefighters when he accuses Marty of being biased towards him in the investigation due to his profession.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
You're a New Yorker.
I'm a Long Islander.
You're a Long Islander, but you're New York adjacent.
Yeah.
Can you remind everybody what the relationship between NYPD and FDNY is one more time?
It's like the Bloods and the Crips.
Yeah. Episode 12, Under the Gun. Uh-oh. While Jim is having dinner with Christy at a restaurant, another patron makes a derogatory statement directed towards her. When Jim asks this person to apologize, the man refuses and then attacks him, which leads to an all-out brawl in the restaurant. In the midst of all this chaos, the satchel containing Jim's firearm is stolen. Unnerved by the whole situation, Jim seeks the help of his colleagues, who all agree to search for the missing weapon. The issue of whether Jim should carry a gun or not again comes into play as things go from bad to worse when it's suspected that his revolver might have been used by an unknown assailant to murder a 17-year-old boy. Wait, with connections to drug dealers.
Oh, what a shocker, folks! I'm shocked.
I'm shocked. There is gambling going on in this establishment.
Yeah.
You're winning, sir. Thank you.
All right. So, of course, we get to the final episode, episode 13, Fancy Footwork. Now, this episode aired. Now, the 12th episode aired on May 31st, 2005. This episode was burned off on June 21st, 2005. And this is unbelievable.
You know when it was burned off? After Game 6 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah, Chico, burned off after Game 6 of the NBA Finals between the Spurs and the Pistons. And this episode was not even shown on the East Coast. They aired it on the West Coast after Game 6. It was it was in one area of the country they burned off the final episode. And because it was a regional broadcast, technically, it didn't even get a national rating.
Nope.
No. Okay.
So what happened on this episode?
Yeah. Dunbar investigates the murder of a boxing promoter. And then, to follow up on the previous episode, he tries to decide if he should give up carrying the gun. And you know what, guys? He decides he's going to give up carrying the gun. And he gets a round of applause, like, great job, Jim. Yeah.
Yeah, cue the video of Leonardo DiCaprio just applauding.
Yeah. You're blind, and you're not going to accidentally shoot people with a gun. Good on you, Jim. And the last scene is, like, him dancing with his wife. And it's all, like, black and white. Yeah. That's how the show ends.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like there was a lot of things going on here with a lot of solid leads and the creative power of Steven Bochco. I just have to ask, what went wrong? But then again, I'm looking at who wrote the darn thing, and it seems like, was this one of those deals where the executive producer with all the muscle just puts his name on it and lets whatever happen.
Yeah, it's probably what it is.
Like Steven Spielberg on Tiny Toons and Animaniacs.
Yeah, it's like, here's the idea.
Matt Olmstead and Nicholas Wooten just weren't strong writers.
Yeah, it's like, here's the idea. You guys run with it. Whatever.
So it seems like that's what happens. Meanwhile, I seem to have both a good and a bad review here.
Okay.
Alessandra Stanley of the New York Times said that Blind Justice is at its best when portraying how people react to the character Jim Dunbar. Makes sense. Her review, the scenes at the precinct when he first returns to work are intelligently and delicately written. His heroism and the groundbreaking lawsuit he filed turns him into a celebrity cop, and his colleagues on the force greet him with graceless courtesy and palpable resentment. Dunbar is blind, but in a previous generation, he could have been black or female and encountered a similar kind of churlishness. Yeah. So, yeah, I totally get that. I mean, that makes sense. On the other hand, you have Robert Bianco of USA Today, who said, as bad ideas go, oh, Greg, you're going to like this. As bad ideas go, Blind Justice's gun-toting blind guy isn't even a patch on some of the truly awful concepts that have made it to series. And Matthew Gilbert of the Boston Globe said, Detective Dunbar might as well be wearing a note pinned to his back reading, I have courage, integrity, and kids really like me. Blind Justice settles for the sort of nobler-than-thou portrayal that marred the final seasons of Bochco's NYPD Blue. In the episode sent to critics, the murder suspects are straight out of central casting, from the wigged-out serial killer to the abusive dad. Ultimately, they seem to be there merely to provide our knight in shining armor a few hard-to-miss targets. Greg, which side are you on this?
I don't understand why. I'm guessing the only reason this went to series was because of Steven Bochco. Because obviously
he flexed. He
flexed his muscle to get this on schedule. But what this is like one of the stupidest concepts I've ever heard for a show. He gets shot. He's blind.
He gets shot in a place where I saw the clip in the pilot. If he was shot there, if he was shot really there, he would have been dead.
He would have been dead. And yeah, he would have been straight up dead. Would have been straight up dead. That would have been the end of the series. After 2 minutes, done.
Easy.
Done.
Yeah. But instead, he's just blind.
He's now blind. Like, oh, he got shot. He's blind. And the NYPD boys like, oh, we don't want to lose a lot of money. Let's just bring him back on the force.
Yeah.
What? I don't want to make a comment considering in these times, but I mean...
Yeah, but Mike, you have anything to say about this?
Why, yes, I do. It's time for eBay prices, right?
Are you kidding?
Yeah, believe it or not, I found something that ties into the TV show. This is a DVD. This is given to voting members of the Hollywood Television Academy to pick nominees for that year's awards. And this is a DVD of the first 3 episodes, the pilot, 4 Feet Under, and Rub-a-Tub-Tub.
Oh, awesome.
Now,
Just
sold...
Just what I want, Rub-a-Tub-Tub.
Now, this sold on June 24th. Okay? All right. We're going to start with Chico since we started with Greg last time.
Okay. I'm going to go with... now, this is a Screeder DVD, so I'm going to go...
Screeder DVD of 3 episodes, yes.
You know what? I'm going to go with 1420.
420.
Didn't you go 1420 last time?
No, I went.
He went 1540 last time.
Oh.
So he's going.
All right.
So wait, how much did he go for?
1420.
1420. $1, Bob.
Oh, bold move. So
bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out for him.
Yeah, let's see if that bold strategy worked. 14.20 for Chico, and Greg went $1 again because Greg thinks nobody would ever pay $14.20 for this DVD. Well, guess what, Greg? You're wrong. $21.99.
Who pays $21.99 for a Screeder DVD?
Somebody did. It sold.
Who does that?
It sold for $21.99.
That's pathetic. Okay,
let's
get to the real. Let's get to the real reason because this was my show. Okay. Here's my. All right. So, guys,
here's Greg's blind justice.
Here's my blind justice. Damn it. You guys are bidding on a handmade European bronze statue of blind justice. Yes, you are bidding on a handmade statue from Europe in bronze of the blind justice statue.
Ooh.
Okay.
So, guys, this will not be dollars and cents. You're just bidding straight up dollars.
Okay.
So I will start the bidding with Mike.
Okay, you said it was handcrafted. Okay. And you said solid bronze?
Handcrafted European solid
bronze
statue of
yes.
Okay, so this had to be money then because it's not cheap doing that by hand. Does it say anything about weight or height or size?
I'm just reading what it says in the description.
Okay. Well, I think it's going to have some sort of value, so I'm going to say $149 even.
Okay. Chico, your bid.
I love you, Mike. $150.
The price of the handmade European bronze statue of blind justice. $205.
Yay.
That's an expensive paperweight.
I'll guarantee you this. When we get the life-size statue of McLean Stevenson, that's going to look like nothing compared to that.
Oh, when we get the life-size McLean Stevenson statue, I'm going to put a bandana around his head so he's blind justice.
We'll get like a Hulk Hogan bandana. We'll tie it around the McLean Stevenson statue.
Just get a set of scales. You're good to go.
Yeah. But guys, blind justice. They had justice, and it was blind. You know what, guys?
Mm-hmm.
In 2005 on ABC, in a year where ABC was coming back from airing Millionaire from like 4 nights a week, and they were recovering from the overload of Millionaire. They came back with Lost and Desperate Housewives. They had blind justice, and guys, it certainly was a thing on TV.
Yep.
Yeah.
That dog, though.
Oh, Hank. He's the real star of the show.
Hank made that show.
Yeah. It should have been a spin-off show involving Hank. I would watch the crap out of it.
Oh, yeah.
It was 15 years earlier. It was a pilot called Puchinsky.
Well, you can hear more about Puchinsky and all the other shows that we've done so far at our website. It was athingontv.com. There you'll find more about the show, more about us, all of our social feeds on Jack Dorsey's Hate Box, Mark Zuckerberg's Hate Box, Instagram, Tumblr, Mike's Discord, and of course, our good friends at the Place to Be Nation Pop Feed.
Because if you're listening to this on Place to Be Nation Pop, this is the end of the episode. We got another episode scheduled this week, but this is in the middle. That second episode you heard on Place to Be Nation Pop's the middle, but in our regular timeline, it's the next one after this. I know it's confusing, but whatever. But yeah, in the latest drop that came out this week, we had Kondo and the Noel Edmonds show, and those were some fun times there. Both of those episodes. Santa Maria!
Santa Monica! Interesting thing, we were talking about the Noel Edmonds show, and it actually got a few good hits on our Facebook feed.
Yeah. Because we got, what was it? It was Allison who commented on our Facebook feed saying about...
Yeah.
Yeah, and she said he actually thought he could beat Johnny Carson in the ratings.
So adorable.
Yeah. In the 1980s, cocaine was a hell of a drug.
Everybody thought they could beat Johnny Carson in the ratings.
Yeah. Just ask Alan Thicke.
Running in the thick of the night. Running in the thick of the night.
Guys.
Yeah, we got to do this proper.
Okay.
Hey, Alan.
Hang on.
Oh, wait. Alan, hi. How you doing?
Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
No. He's getting the phone. No.
I'm calling him right now.
Oh no. Okay. Greg's calling.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll be right back, guys.
Oh,
Yo, Alan Thicke, you still owe me money. Oh.
No.
Santa Maria. Santa Lucia.
Santa Barbara.
What is this? The surf report? Hold
Hello?
on. Oh no.
Hey guys.
Hold on. Oh wait, I don't have it anymore.
Hey guys, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Alan, we were just talking about you thinking that you could topple Johnny Carson.
Oh yeah, I don't know what I was thinking back then. Talk with Johnny Carson. I mean,
hey, you know, at least top Noel Edmonds. You guys weren't on at the same time, were you?
No, he was on way after me. But I mean, we were on the same network on ABC. Yeah, I didn't go on the show because that was during the summer. Yeah. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, trying to have a week's worth of shows and all that. What was up with that? They were doing the competition they did. They did some sort of competition.
You know what? I still don't know what was going on with that episode.
No.
I still have no idea.
Yeah, but I mean, I gotta get the only good thing about that Noel Edmonds show was my good friend Ernie Anderson said it was after that night.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, Mike is using his wheel throw blanket to shield himself from gods.
Oh, you're using a Wheel of Fortune blanket, Mike?
So I guess.
Hey, hey, Mike, did you know that I wrote the original theme song for Wheel of Fortune?
Don't drag me into this.
Yeah. Why? Why are you so upset, Mike?
I'm laughing my ass off. I'm not.
Okay. You know what?
Hey
you know
guys,
what,
I'm curious. What were you guys talking about on the show?
Well, we were talking about a show called Blind Justice. It was.
Wait a minute, Blind Justice. What the fuck is that?
It's Daredevil minus the martial arts, basically.
What? I mean, the comic book Daredevil, but with a detective? That sounds like the fucking stupidest show I've ever heard.
Yeah, well, you know what? Bless their hearts, they tried. All right.
I can't believe that people at ABC in the future. What the hell are they thinking?
I don't know. I just don't know. You know what?
Next you're gonna tell me they're gonna have like some show that's gonna involve like people like trapped in like purgatory on a desert island. And it's gonna go like 6 years and it's gonna go fucking nowhere. It's gonna be like a complete fucking waste of time.
Do you want to tell him or should I?
He described to a T how I described that show, so I can't disagree with him.
Oh, no. Well, Mike is using his wheel throw to hide his visage from the all-seeing eye of God, so must mean it's time to go. But,
hey, I'll see you later, guys.
I'll see you. Yo, man. Yo, Alec, you still owe me money.
I owe you money from what?
I don't know. I just always wanted to say that.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'll see you later, guys.
Okay, well, next, what do we have next time? What do we have next time? Let me see if I can't drag Greg back in here. Yo, Greg, what do we got next time? He doesn't know either.
What do we have next time? Oh my gosh! If you thought we went off the rails, if you thought we went off the rails the last 5 minutes, oh my gosh, we're gonna go completely off the rails next week. Both shows. Oh my gosh! Wow.
You know what?
That's all I can say is wow.
Buckle up! It's gonna be a ride.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be a fun ride. We got two. Oh, one of them I know Greg has been eagerly waiting for the better part of probably about 3 or 4 months. But actually, both of them are going to be like really hilarious shows because they're both amazingly great entries. The first one is something that all three of us are giant fans of, so we'll definitely go into a really deep dive into that one.
Yeah. Hey, Saddam Hussein, I hate you. I hate all of you. That's your hint.
And I'm not even going to give a hint for the other episode because I do,
I'm going to die laughing. I'm going to literally die laughing.
He'll just be out of it. Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
I'm going to give you one. I'm going to tease you with this. When I read the title of episode 84, it literally might take a half hour for me to try to finish the title.
I might have to do the read for that episode.
It might be, remember when Charlie Steiner was trying to describe Carl Lewis singing the national anthem?
Francis got off key.
Yeah, and he couldn't stop laughing. That's going to be me.
It very well could be, yes. But that's all coming up next week, right here on It Was a Thing on TV.
Wow!
Boy, how about that ABC? This is unbelievable. A couple of years ago, they were in such bad condition. Nobody was watching. They were in such poor shape. They were losing money left and right. Things were so bad at ABC that they actually invited Paul and I to go over there and do the show.
That's how bad.
They were that desperate.
Man.
But now they've bounced back. They have the wonderful blockbuster show Lost and Found, and then they have a.
I think it's just Lost. Lost, isn't it?
I thought it was you
Lost.
May be right. Yeah.
I think it's Lost.
And then they followed that up with Careless Housewives, and now
Desperate Housewives. Everybody.
They have a brand new show called Blind Justice.
Blind Justice.
That's amazing. Have you folks seen Blind Justice?
What is that one?
Well, it's about a devoted cop who believes he can still do some good work on the force even though he has no sight.
Oh.
He's a sightless policeman.
I see.
Still out there pounding the beat, busting up crime and arresting thugs. It's called Blind Justice.
Blind Justice.
And it's a blockbuster hit. Here, take a look at a promo for this upcoming show. Watch.
Don't come any closer. I swear I'll shoot. Just put the gun down and let's talk this out. Stop talking. Drop the gun. You leave me no choice. Anyone?
Awful. Just awful.